Welcome back to yet another SOLIDWORKS tutorial. Today is all about in-context assembly modeling. Now, if that's not something that's familiar to you, you've clicked on the right video. So let me tell you what we want to achieve here. We want to create a little cover that's going to go over the bottom of these batteries. Now, of course, I could just insert it if I already had it, but if I click on new part, it starts to put me into this world of in-context design. Now, after clicking new part, I need to choose where I want this new part to be. Obviously for us, it's going to be on the foot of this model. Now you'll notice it turns everything transparent. I can just see the outer lines, and that's it trying to help us. It's trying to give us references that we can use. So given that, I'm going to use my convert entities. I'll select the tangent loop of this bottom. And again, I could sketch it in, but why would you when we've got these tools like convert entities and select tangency? You can see it's bringing those outer edges through, and you'll also notice that although I'm in the assembly environment, I've got access to all my usual 3D modeling tools. So I can go in here and do a normal extrude. Now what this is allowing us to do is create the part in the context of the assembly, and there's a number of advantages to doing that, as we'll discover. So let's make this 3.2 mil. I'll hit OK, and there we go. We've brought in the basic shape of this cover. Now it's not exited us out of this component just yet, because there might be additional things we want to do, such as maybe add fillets to it. We'll go ahead and do that now. And you can see I can actually create this part using references of the assembly which it belongs to. So rather than have to go off and start a new part, then drop it in later, I can do it right in the context of the assembly. So there we go, I've got my basic shape, that's looking pretty good. And the way to think about this is it is a completely separate part. So if I click it, you can see it in the tree here, cross references, just like if we'd added it in and hadn't created it in context. And if I even open it up, you can see it stands alone, it's its own part. Now what's really nice about this function as well is that it's got references back to the parts. So if I make a change in here in the context of the part, that's then going to be reflected in the assembly. So we'll go ahead and hollow this out. We want a 3 mil wall thickness, and we'll put a cut into this. Not a through all cut. We'll go blind, and we're going to go 2.2 mil. Leave ourselves with that 1 millimeter wall thickness that the rest of the model has. And then I could then go ahead and save this, or I can just close it down. If we just close it down or switch back to the assembly, it'll ask us, you know, a part's changed in here. Do we want the assembly to reflect that? If I click yes, there we go. The part is brought in. And if I isolate it, what you're going to see is it's using that new version of the part. Now SOLIDWORKS is pretty smart in the way that it goes about this. If I exit out of this isolate, one of the things that it's done is it's actually added a mate to this part. So even although we created it in the context, we certainly didn't add a mate, it's added an in place mate, which tells us it's in place, it cannot be moved, and it's using the references from that original assembly that we used to actually create the shape and create the model. But sure enough, if I delete that mate out, I'm free to move this around, as you can see, just like any other part in an assembly. Now, if you're a SOLIDWORKS user and these tips are beneficial to you, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see you for the next one.